Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a great extended weekend. Thanks for tuning in tonight if you're watching, or if you're watching the recorded video, thank you as well. Um, as I always say, feel free to share this video to your wall after it posts to mine. The more people that are talking about this, the better. Also, these are my opinions and my opinions only, and I'm not a therapist or a mental health professional. I'm just simply have borderline personality disorder. Tonight's topic is actually 5 positive things about being diagnosed with and having borderline personality disorder. And I wanted to shake it up a little bit tonight since the last couple of topics were kind of unpleasant ones overall, very important ones, but they were, they're looked at the darker side of the mental health system, this disorder and mental health or mental illness in general. So with that being said, we'll talk about the positives in my experience about being diagnosed with and living with BPD. So first of all, being correctly diagnosed actually saved my life, and I do firmly believe that. One wonderful psychiatrist in Las Vegas, Nevada, actually cared enough to sit down and with me for about an hour and 45 minutes and discuss my entire life, my previous diagnoses, went through the entire DSM-5 under BPD and the symptoms, and really wanted to and really went through all the symptoms to find out what was wrong with me. He just didn't, diagnose me based on initial gut instinct, which that was my experience with previous psychiatrist. I actually saw one point in our conversation where a light bulb went off in his head and his eyes widened, like almost like he found a buried treasure. And in a sense, he pretty much did. We proceeded to go through each criteria under the DSM-5 for borderline personality disorder, one by one, and he was asking for real life examples of how I would potentially fit into this particular symptom. And I needed 5 out of the 9 symptoms to be diagnosed with this condition, and while I knocked it out of the park, and I was at an 8 out of 9. So yes, this was a very positive experience for me. This man was a very positive part in my life as it led me up to where I'm at today. And although life isn't perfect, it's right now it's a heck of a lot better than where it was. Number 2 on my list is that I have a new understanding and increase of compassion for other individuals who suffer from not only BPD, but other mental illness as well. Before I had been diagnosed, I had been through a lot in my lifetime, and I didn't feel that I was judgmental by any means. But being diagnosed and experiencing the things I've experienced has opened my eyes to a whole new world. I don't look at people the same way. I don't look at healthy people the same way. I don't look at unhealthy people the same way. The rich, the homeless, we're all the same in so many respects. Mental illness or no mental illness, we all deal with problems and stresses in our lives. And, some people may not be able to handle those stresses like others. And to those who can't, I get it. I understand what it's like to feel that deep pain inside. I understand what it's like to live each day in constant fear. And BPD is not the only mental illness that can actually do this to a person. We're all flawed in some ways. And part of the reason why I do what I do with the awareness is to help others open up as well. To help tear down that wall and shield and start talking about how similar we really are. So compassion and understanding is something that I gained as a human being just because of having this disorder. Number 3 is, I'm in touch with reality today. I know who I am. I know what I have. I'm not living with a mask on, and what you see is what you get with me. Yes, I play different roles in my life, and, a father, employee, the awareness part of me, and my own personal life. But, because of this disorder and because I was finally correctly diagnosed, I can be me and I can be proud of me. Now I'm not trying to degrade others by any means, but there are so many people out in this world that have no clue of who they truly are. They'll put on an image and a front to the rest of society and even to themselves out of just sheer protection. And I love that I don't have to have blinders on today. I don't do things because it's popular to do. I take risks at times, and by opening up to the public with the awareness comes a great vulnerability. And yes, at times I am treated differently than others and looked at with skepticism, so it is not easy. Part of what I'm doing with this awareness and openness and education is to inspire others to be real, to lose the judgments and to help others understand what it's like, or help others understand that it is okay to have problems. It's okay to have mental illness. If you have mental illness and you're doing something about it, you're way ahead of so many people out there who live each day wearing that mask and many times are unaware of it. Be proud of who you are, be confident, and be real. You may be more vulnerable and open to criticism and even possibly even a victim of stigma, but I'll tell you firsthand that the positives of being honest and real far outweigh the negatives. Number 4 on my list is that because I do have this disorder and am in active recovery, that I have the tools to keep myself balanced. For so many years, balance brought anger and resentment to me just by hearing the word. The reason it brought resentment is because I've been chasing it my entire life. It's like the roadrunner and the coyote, moderation, don't get too happy or too sad. I resented that because for so long it was virtually impossible for me to obtain. The swing in emotional lows and the highs is the exact reason why I was misdiagnosed with bipolar at one time. I made unhealthy, impulsive decisions when I was at either end of the spectrum. Much of my life, I was either feeling low or feeling like I could conquer the world, which prompted me to make unhealthy decisions and many times self-sabotage. Now today it's, life is a little bit different. It is, because I know what disorder I have, I can connect the dots to why I've always done the things I've done. I can now prevent myself from being in those situations again and making those unhealthy choices. Without this diagnosis, I don't think that would be possible. I would continue to strive towards balance, but I would not have the proper tools to actually achieve it. So that is why correct diagnosis is so important. But there is a double-edged sword here. I'll be honest. I do like the fact that I'm able to maintain more balance in my life today, but more so on the side of preventing myself from going into that downward spiral. On the flip side, honestly, it can be a little frustrating when others can ride the wave of an emotional high when they're feeling extreme joy, happiness, or satisfaction. But today I know that can actually be dangerous for me. And, actually just as dangerous as those emotional lows. So I'm actually, I'm working on bringing myself down a little bit when I do feel extremely happy. I don't do so by thinking negatively. I just simply keep myself in check and remind myself of what happened in the past when I have ridden that emotional high. I've jumped into relationships in the past very quickly, thinking I can handle certain behaviors or even substances and other impulsive decisions just because I simply felt strong at the time. So when I feel extra happy right now, those are the times that I do repeat the phrase, stay calm, stay humble, stay small, and do the next right thing. Finally, number 5 on my list is probably the most important one to me, and that's purpose. The reason why I do the things that I'm doing, with the awareness isn't just to help others, and I'm just being honest. It's a big part, but I'm a firm believer that there are no selfless acts in this world. As human beings, we get something out of everything we do. And in my case, the awareness and education for others about this disorder brings a great purpose in my life. I always knew deep down that I did have a gift to connect to others, to empathize and to understand and communicate, but I really had no way to channel that. Being diagnosed with this disorder and eventually being taken out to the streets is exactly what I needed in order to make me or take me down a different path. And, with that path came purpose. So I need to continue to do these things that I'm doing just because it is, simply vital to my own recovery. And getting out of myself and being able to, enjoy that satisfaction of helping others is a feeling that, is indescribable. And I still have my selfish moments, and I still deal with a lot of loneliness and issues with this disorder. But being diagnosed with BPD and experience the things that I have experienced in my journey has actually made me a better person. I want to be able to leave my mark in our world before I leave it one day. And, even if it's helping and inspiring just one person at a time, it feels good. I'm not going to lie, it makes me feel good about being me. And these are things that I was lacking for most of my life. I believe that getting out of yourself and helping others is an underutilized therapeutic tool within the mental health field. I've heard so many times over the years that you can't be of value to anyone else until you are completely whole yourself. And I totally disagree. Absolutely not. Getting out of yourself and helping others can take an empty part of your heart and your soul and fill that with empathy, understanding, kindness, and love. In essence, it can actually help you become whole. So thank you for listening tonight, everyone. Hopefully you did enjoy your extended weekend, and I'll see you next week. Go Cubs.